Hello, this is a pretty exciting day. So the Mclaren 720s GT3 EVO has just dropped in iRacing. I've just downloaded it. I've done one or two laps, but more or less these are going to be my first impressions of this car. This is going to be totally unscripted, so I'm not going to be talking for too much, but it's just to kind of get an idea of what this car is. I've kind of got some ideas already, and I think I'm going to be joining a league race very soon. This Thursday is going to be the first pre-season race. It's Evolution Sim Racing Season 6, and I think this is going to be a very popular choice. So without wasting too much time, I'll just get the ignition on. And the dash, I really like, so I'll turn the pit limiter off. The dash, I really like, so we've got the brake temperature there. That's new as far as I can tell, in at least on the dash page for a GT3 car. I don't remember that being on any other GT3 car, but then it's kind of business as usual. We've got a really nice Delta page there as well. There's one of the brake temps and tyre temps there, so that brake temps, I don't know if that's going to affect too much in iRacing. Maybe it will, but it's still a nice sort of metric to keep an eye on, especially during like a long stint. It might be something that you could alter your driving to manage that, especially if tyre temps start getting a little bit out of control. But yeah, I think it's a nice clean dash. So yeah, I'll get it fired up so you can just hear what it sounds like. A few revs. Pretty nice. And I'd say perhaps when I do the league race, I will do a POV with a GoPro so you can see the visibility, but generally I would say that the visibility is very similar to the Ferrari. You get a little bit of the bonnet or the hood, and side visibilities are also, you get quite a lot of side visibility as well. It's quite a nice position, seating position. I'd say similar to the Ferrari in terms of general visibility, but it's a nice big front windscreen as well. I'm on a 27-inch monitor, and for me the BMW and the Mustang, they're a little bit narrow in terms of visibility, but this is really nice and wide. Side windows as well, they're all really good. So yeah, I'll just do a couple laps. Sounds a little bit funny.
It's clear, push.
So these aren't going to be quick laps, obviously, because I've not driven this car. I've just jumped in the sim, but we'll see what we can do. But straight away, I'm noticing the similarities with the Ferrari and perhaps even the Corvette. This, of course, being a mid-engine car, it kind of fits nicely in that category. Rotates well. You can see where I went off earlier, that's where I caught the grass. It rotates well, it turns in nicely. My favourite car, just for reference, in the GT3 class, my favourite is the Lamborghini, and perhaps by extension the Audi as well. I love how they turn in, I love how they feel mid-corner. I love that little bit of extra rotation you get on power when you exit a corner. It just suits my driving style the best, I feel anyway. Never really gelled with the Porsche. I get why people like the Porsche, but corner exit for me just doesn't seem to work too well. I prefer the little bit of oversteer you get from the Lamborghini. The Ferrari has always been a good choice for me for sort of longer races, endurance races. I think it's a very stable car, but I think sometimes it just feels a little bit understeering. It feels like, for me, the Ferrari feels like a mid-engine car for people who like front-engine cars. It still has a lot of that sort of understeer that you would find in the BMW or the Mercedes, I think, anyway. I mean, I could be totally wrong, but I just feel like you need to really nurture it into the corners more so than you do the Lamborghini and the Porsche. I feel like they just they want to turn in more. And then with the Ferrari, sometimes it just feels like it's a bit sluggish getting out of the corners. And then suddenly it will just snap with oversteer. And it's just a car that I always just had to think about driving, whereas something like the Lamborghini, even though it's on the edge, which is why I never really want to do an endurance race with it, it's always on edge, but you kind of always know what it's telling you it wants. That's how I always see it. Again, I could be wrong, I know these things are subjective, that's how I see it anyway. That's why I've always picked the Lamborghini for a lot of sprint races and league races and things, always with just the grass. But yeah, endurance races, I've always liked the Ferrari, the BMW as sort of stable platforms. So
the
this
time was at 124.9.
Jim
Sector 3 is 2/10 off your best.
This, to me, initially, feels a lot like the Ferrari, more so than the Lamborghini. It feels like it's closer to what the Ferrari is, with it being a very stable platform, very easy to drive out of the box. It seems to, again, we're at a tight track, we're at Brands Hatch. It's linking these corners up very easily. You're not having to drag it around the corners. It feels like there's a lot more. Of course, I'm not driving at 100% here, but it feels like this car has a lot more to give. And it's finding this tighter track here anyway, a piece of cake. Whereas perhaps something like the BMW, it's a bit of a workout having to get that thing round. Although I always liked the BMW, I always thought it was quite good, even at tighter tracks. But in principle, this is handling a lot nicer than those bigger cars. And I would say it feels like it's sharper and more pointy than the Ferrari. And then when you get to, at least on turn-in, but then when you get to corner exit,
that last lap was at 124.6.
take it around here.
Sector 3 is a 10th off your best.
I would say it feels very similar to the Ferrari. I wouldn't say it's a replacement for people who like perhaps the Lamborghini, if that's your car, or the Audi perhaps. The Porsche is its own thing. If you are a Porsche driver, I think you're just a Porsche driver. Nothing's going to come close to the driving characteristics of a Porsche, so I think we can rule the Porsche out. But in terms of comparing this to the mid-engine cars, I wouldn't say that this feels as pointy and as snappy and as deathy as the Lamborghini or Audi. This isn't trying to kill me, this is trying to help me get around the corners. It's not snapping at any point, it's turning in when I want it to turn in. It's not really understeering too much, but it's not oversteering either. It's just a really happy medium, it feels like. The Ferrari feels like a bit of a mixed bag. It depends on the corner and the speed. I think it can handle very differently. Sometimes it feels understeery, sometimes it feels oversteery. The Lamborghini tends to always feel oversteery. This generally, at the moment, on this track, first 15 minutes of me actually driving it,
your last lap time was at
feels like a very happy medium between the two.
You're currently
Perhaps just leaning towards the Ferrari in terms of, understeer and stability. So, as I mentioned, I'm going to be doing a league race. It's going to be, I forget how many weeks, I think perhaps 10 rounds. Starting at Silverstone, it's going to be following the GT season, the official season for GT3s is going to be following those tracks. So this Thursday will be the first pre-season, the first of 2 pre-season races, so there won't be an official broadcast, but I will probably be doing a POV in this car. I think this is the car I'm going to pick. It's going to be at Silverstone, if I mentioned, so I think this will be a really interesting track to try and collab this out. So I'll probably do a POV with the GoPro so you can see visibility, and we'll actually put it to the test in an official race as well, with amongst other cars, and just see what the performance is like, the balance of performance as well between the different cars. Because I always thought again, me being a Lamborghini fan, I always thought the Lamborghini handled very well around Silverstone. So it'll be interesting to see if this does any better. Yeah, I think I'm going to finish this lap in silence.
Sector 3 times
and
okay.
we'll get some external shots so you can listen to those. So I'll shut up now and finish this lap.
Sector 1 is 0.3, off your best. Sector 2 time is good.
Try not to get on the grass. Oh, well.
Mind these track limits, please, Tom.
Well, hopefully that gives you a pretty good idea of a little bit of what to expect from this car. Again, this is unscripted. Just very initial impressions. I just did the eye testing race at Charlotte, the 3-hour race in the Ferrari, so I'm comparing it to the Ferrari a lot because that's what I've driven most recently. So I hope that's not just a lot of rambling, but if anything's useful, then that's great. I would absolutely recommend buying this car. And of course, if you've bought the old McLaren within the past 90 days, you get this car essentially for free anyway. You'll get the credits for it. But I'd say, yeah,
Sector 1 is 3.9, off your best.
if you enjoy racing GT3s and iRacing, this is kind of a no-brainer. This is going to be a very solid choice, I imagine, going forward. We'll have to see. But knowing how popular the other mid-engine cars are, this is going to be a great one to jump into. Especially if you're just starting out in GT3s. This feels very, very stable, very easy to drive, and it feels like it's got a lot more time to give as well. Especially even on a track like this, it feels like you could really push this car. And then when you start adjusting setup, I mean, yeah, I think this is going to be a top contender, but we'll have to see. Of course, there's a lot of hype around this car as well, like there was for the Mustang, and I think we all know how the Mustang's kind of gone down. Not the greatest, so yeah, I don't think this is going to be a Mustang. I think this is going to be more of a Ferrari. It's going to be a very widely used car. So yeah, I hope this has been somewhat informative. I'm sure if you use iRacing, you'll be trying this out for yourself very soon. So it'll be interesting to know what other people think. But I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot more of these on track very soon. So I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for, of course, the league that's coming up soon. I'll post that as soon as I can. But yeah, I'll leave with a few external laps as well, just so you can hear what this thing sounds like from the outside. I think it sounds very nice. So yeah, again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.